Okay, let's give this another shot because I royally messed it up the first time. We're switching the intro around a little bit. Again, we're going to cover today. I'm going to spoil alert it. We're dealing with the House of Maison Margiela. Y'all know I'm going through this discovery set to see what we can find. $16 at Ross. Probably one of the best discovery set pickups of all time. Today, we are going to be covering Autumn Vibes. Strap up. All right, welcome to the Scent Bubble. I am your host for the evening. Okay, so let's get one thing straight here. This is from the replica line, and just to clarify what exactly that is it's a line of fragrances from Maison Margiela that basically aim to capture, I think is the right word, concepts and ideas and vibes and time periods and scenarios, you know? So when you guys think of these fragrances, I'll list them all off to you, you know, By the Fireplace, Jazz Club, When the Rain Stops. And you'd think that they would leave it at that. But as I'm going to show you in a second, they like to get a little more descriptive in it with the bottle. So far, these fragrances have felt very body misty, like a premium quality body spray. Doesn't mean they don't smell good or anything like that, but they kind of just tend to lean on this overly sweet, but still reminiscent of the vibe that it's talking about, but has just kind of lacked the cologne-ness of it all. Feels more like a spray, and I think that's just due to the nature of the lack of complexity. But we're going to try out Autumn Vibes, and I don't know anything about this fragrance. The last episode I tried to shoot on this fragrance, my tester busted open, so I had to kind of lip balm rub my decant on this test strip, and I have done it before we started because this is episode 2 of trying to reshoot this. So, yeah, guys, let's do an initial thoughts and opinions on the fragrance. I don't know what to think when I think Autumn Vibes. Maybe cold weather sweet, something like that. Maybe leaves, even though there's probably not a leaf note. Okay, so this smell is kind of two-tone with a third tone tucked in the back. I'm getting like a 6 out of 10 floral sweetness sitting on a backdrop of kind of sweetened woods, almost like oak barrel or bourbon wood barrel. So it's almost like soft, sweet, brown-colored florals, if that even makes any sense at all. Sometimes you guys will hear me describe a fragrance by, I'll say, this smells green, this smells blue. So when I say brown, think along the lines of woody, oak barrel, maybe even like cashmere, something like that. So I'm getting these soft, sweet florals kind of laying on kind of oak barrel type vibes as far as wood, like wood-soaked bourbon, oak, things like that. It's not insanely woody. It's soft, sweet, woody. And then in the back, you kind of have this like half attempt at like a 10% note of like, I don't know, fresh, spicy, slightly earthy. This is definitely not entirely body spray feeling, but it's kind of, it's so light and airy that it leads me to feel like that. However, compared to some of the other ones we've done so far, this isn't bad. Okay, all that out of the way, let's switch screens. So here's the fragrance here, and this is what I wanted to show you guys. Look where hopefully my mouse shows up here on screen here, but it says originally Autumn Vibes, provenance and period, Montreal 2018. I probably should have read into this more. I wonder if that's actually a real time period that they're trying to capture or whatever. But fragrance description on the bottle says woody trail and red leaves. Red is not a good descriptor in this case, so just listen to what I said in my initial opening and you pretty much have the fragrance, completely captured. And then style description is memory in a fragrance. Okay, so it's somewhat, I don't know, maybe a little bit abstract of a concept, but they do get your brain going and get you in the wheelhouse of it. And I think what it's going to come down to with this replica line is just simply what fragrances feel more like fragrances, which ones really capture that vibe, which vibes do you prefer. This would be dominantly a cold weather fragrance. However, like a lot of these Maison Margielas, is very much so light and airy that if you really like it, you could do warmer weather, but I wouldn't do high heat with a fragrance like this. This is sweet. This is soft, powdery, floral, not powdery like Dior, maybe half of that density, but there is a weight to it. The woodiness is not, it is a secondary item here. This is dominantly this kind of oak, cashmere sweetness, you know, kind of like wood soaked bourbon feel, with wood just kind of sitting and supporting that note. And then, you know, I don't know how much people would be able to pick up kind of the earthy, the mossy, and the other, you know, the fresh, spicy aspects in the background, but maybe in an intimate setting, it might feel like a little bit more of an interesting fragrance. There's a fragrance that I have that this smells like. So, I had told you guys a while back that I actually found a clone of Ancre Noir to my surprise, and it is called Boise Noir Pour Homme. This fragrance, it's from Milestone Perfumes, which a lot of you guys who are into clones and dupes have probably come across this fragrance house. But when I found this, I was absolutely amazed because not only was it copying Ancre Noir entirely, but they actually gave it a twist. And they threw some like a bourbon oak barrel, I think is what they called. But everything else about the fragrance was the exact same. So it had the fragrance of death feel, but it didn't lean on soily, dark earthiness. That's where Ancre Noir kind of parks the bus and leaves it there. This fragrance actually provided like a bourbon note, which sweetened up like a sweet woodsy feel and didn't rely on kind of this dark soily vetiver. So it pushed more sweetness out of the fragrance instead of earthy, which it still is very much earthy, you know, this kind of wet rain on dark soil, dark day type vibes. But that cashmere and that oak barrel note for this fragrance in particular really catapulted the fragrance to feel more appetizing and alluring with that sweetness. It was still traditionally maybe a 3 or 4 sweetness out of 10, but for anyone who has smelled the actual Ancre Noir, that's a big jump because Ancre Noir original OG is almost no sweetness at all. And so I think it made the fragrance a lot more commercial. This Autumn Vibes totally feels like almost a carbon copy of Boise Noir Pour Homme. I don't know how accessible this fragrance is, but what a beautiful knockoff alternative to that fragrance if you're trying to get into it. And I actually think this captures more of the wetness of the outdoors than the Margiela. This is a little more sweet, slightly feminine, the Maison Margiela. This is a little more earthy and masculine, but I think they both sit very close to the unisex line. This fragrance is going to run, I don't know, 80 to $100 roughly. Am I wrong about that? Hold on, I'm looking for you guys. Let's look on Joma. Yeah, $85 for 100 ml. So yeah, I got this this Boy Noir Pour Homme from Milestone Perfumes for like I want to say like $8 for 100 ml, which is just absolutely insane. And considering I didn't know what the use case was going to be for the original Ancre Noir, having this as an alternative with a little bit ramp up in sweetness as a twist was like all I could ask for with that DNA profile. It actually allowed me to wear it during the cold weather. However, do I think it's worth the money? Again, guys, I'm going to be really hard pressed to say yes. And that's mainly just because it doesn't feel very cologne-y to me. It's very sweet. It's not dumb sweet, But for my taste, it gets close to the edge, and just being that only thing really sitting behind it is woods and maybe some fresh spiciness. I feel bad because as we're going into this, now granted, we do have some kickers, being that I haven't touched on Jazz Club yet, or by the fireplace at the recording of this video. So hopefully there's some hope in that, maybe I just need to get to the most popular fragrances in the lineup. But my fear is that as I go through these, I don't want to cancel them out simply because they feel more like body mists and not fragrances. But I just feel like this kind of luxury price tag that they've put on this type of concentration of fragrance just feels a little exploitive. I don't even know if that's a word. Because they smell good, but they don't, and they might have good performance. I really can't tell. It feels like they shouldn't have more than like 3-4 hours of strong performance. But yeah, I don't want to discount them just because they feel like body sprays to me. But I got to just speak my mind, guys. I don't want to take a crap on Maison Margiela. I really do want to tell you if I find value in the fragrance, but I think at best all I'm going to be able to do as I walk through these is talk about the accuracy of the DNA, if it captures the kind of concept, the autumn vibe, which I think it does. But a lot of these just lean so sweet. Let me double check to see if this is a unisex fragrance. It does say for men and women, but I think this is comfortably women leaning. So I'll just leave it at that. Age range, I think this is super young feeling. Saying that it's 25 and under would be a bit of a stretch. As far as how many sprays you might need on a fragrance like this, you could be conservative to over on it, maybe 4 to 8 sprays if you really love the vibe. I don't think ramping up sprays is going to destroy the DNA, but I don't think you need that either. 4 sprays of it, maybe spritz up later, will be good enough. I hope I've covered enough information. These reviews are going to be a lot shorter than normal because I just want to get through them, especially if I'm not super excited about them. And this is definitely going to be a series where if I can tell you an alternative to these fragrances, I absolutely will, because the $80 price point, like I said, just feels a little odd. I mean, if there's a fragrance here like Jazz Club or By the Fireplace or one of these that I come across that it's really good, then yeah, absolutely. $80 is going to be totally fine. But I got to keep it real with you guys. I'm not your normal content creator in this space. I'm all about the honesty of my perspective. I'm not the Lord of Fragrance. I say it all the time. But on this channel, I am. Like, comment, and subscribe, guys, but more importantly, turn on that notification bell so that you can be in the loop of all the latest episodes. And let me know if you have this fragrance. I'm down for controversy, guys. The conversation of fragrance can't always be sweet and happy and marshmallowy. So if any of you guys disagree with me and you have the fragrance and you wear the fragrance, tell me why. I do talk back. You guys have a blessed week, and until next time, this was Maison Margiela's Autumn Vibes for men and women, but I think mostly women, and you guys have a great day. Peace.